While the rest of the world battles inflation, China is facing consumer prices that are just too low.
China's economy is facing a new threat. While most of the world battles inflation, China is grappling with consumer prices that are just too low. And it could be worse than the official numbers.
This sounds so crazy. And perhaps it's one of the greatest indications that economists are ops. Because from the perspective of the average person, if money is fake and it's just like a way to circulate and a way to stimulate the economy, you look at this and you're like, what's the problem then? They could just like tweak the dials, right? The government could just like tweak the dials and make sure that they can avoid certain shortfalls. And China has been able to do that over and over again, which is precisely the reason why every other week there's another article being like, China is going to, at the collapse, the collapse of China is imminent. The collapse of China is imminent. And they're just like, don't collapse. And then people just move on to the next thing. And this is the next thing, right? But this assessment in and of itself is a capitalist one that unfortunately is stunted. You have these horse blinders on where you think in this capitalist hegemonic way where you think, well, this doesn't make sense from a capitalist perspective. Like if this happened in a capitalist country that has a decentralized structure, then it would just fail. It would be an abject failure. And yeah, I understand that, except that's just not how China operates.
China's official consumer inflation data offers limited detail, and it's not entirely clear how it's tracked. Bloomberg tracks 67 everyday items and found that prices are falling in 51 of them. And the pain is spreading. A brutal price war is breaking out across China's entire economy. If one company starts cutting prices...
Yes, money is only about resource distribution is correct. Exactly. And if your goal is to get the resources in the hands of as many people as possible, then these kinds of things are not a problem. Do you understand?
Their competitors have no choice but to follow. The result? Falling prices, collapsing profits, and no one wins. That phenomenon is called involution, but essentially it's about the fundamental imbalance between supply and demand.
There's too much supply, which obviously lowers prices. There's more supply because China has a robust industrial base and they produce too many things. And when you produce too many things, the price of things goes down because there's no scarcity. If you outproduce the demand, then prices are going to go down. That's what they're talking about. It's just like the prices are too good for the average Chinese. Like, you're not a capital owner. You're not a capitalist. You're not a capital owner. You're just a wage laborer, right? And if you're just a wage laborer, from your perspective, you're like, okay, things are just more affordable. Things are just cheaper. I don't care if there's this like imminent fear of collapse. My steak is too juicy. My lobster too buttery. It's bad. It's bad. We must put an end to it. It's too good, bro. You wouldn't like it. Hey, there's a term for it. It's called involution. What if the economy collapses because things are too affordable for the working poor? This is a bad thing.
This is a competition problem. It completely crushes corporate earnings and slams workers' paychecks. Last year, 25% of Chinese listed companies made a loss. That's the highest percentage this century. And in 2024, a third of companies cut jobs. This shows China is in a deep deflationary spiral. If consumers stop spending, businesses stop investing, the economy slows down, and debt piles up. Beijing is trying to hit the brakes. In July, President Xi Jinping and his top lieutenants ordered a crackdown on excessive consumption. But with the property slump deepening and consumers too nervous to spend,
Bro, you don't understand. It's stupid to buy food for yourself today if tomorrow the food is going to be cheaper. Yeah. Economists, I feel like, despite being human beings, economists oftentimes operate as though they are not in their analysis. And it's interesting because the entire economy is still geared around people. And people are never going to be rational actors anyway. Like, they're not robots. So I don't understand what this analysis is supposed to do, especially if you have a different vision or a different mechanism, a different method of governance. These sorts of issues might come up, but they are easier to solve with central planning.
Experts think the government's fix won't even...
Yeah. Involution is mostly relevant in free market economies where state does not actively stimulate demand with non-profitable state contracts and regulate sectors with price controls. That's the issue. they're still operating under this faulty assessment of, well, China is a capitalist country, or whenever they want to fearmonger about China, they'll say it's communist. But whenever they want to talk about like the Chinese economy, they're like, well, it's a capitalist country. It's a capitalist country. It's like, well, they kind of wear, the way I describe it to Americans is kind of like they wear capitalism like a sleeve instead of previous methods of central planning, like previous formations of centralized planning in a command economy. The Chinese central planning revolves around controlling flows of capital. There is still obviously a lot of intervention and a lot of moving people into a certain direction, right? Moving sectors or focusing on different sectors when there is need for it, need and planning that takes place far before the economy moves in that direction. It's not an accident that you can purchase like a fairly reliable electric vehicle in China for the cost of an expensive NVIDIA GPU, you know? Like, it's crazy. That didn't happen out of nowhere. That happened because the government was like, we want to focus. We want to electrify our entire grid. We want to focus on we're the number one, we are the monopoly when it comes to the global monopoly when it comes to, you know, solar panels and renewable energies. And we want to make sure that our entire grid is less reliant on fossil fuels in general, and instead reliant on renewable energies. And therefore, they let 1,000 flowers bloom in terms of EV manufacturing for the last like decade. And the results are that they have this incredible manufacturing base for electric vehicles. Obviously, they are far too competitive in their pricing for European markets, and in an effort not to destroy their own domestic manufacturing sectors, the European markets try to limit the amount of Chinese EVs that can enter their marketplaces, and America just outright bans it, as you guys know.
Move the needle. Our tracking suggests prices in China are set to fall for the third year in a row in 2025. This is the world's second largest economy. The longer prices stay low, the greater the risk that growth will stall for years, even decades.
It feels like their solution to this is a single national market that will standardize rules and regulation to break down regional barriers has moved up on Beijing's agenda. Recent reforms focus on clearer property rights, easier flows of labor and capital, and improved judicial oversight of local law or local enforcement. The new private economy promotion law helps level the playing field for public and private firms while central authorities tighten oversight. The 15th five-year plan will reveal the next steps. You're actually wrong. It's better for the government to provide incentives like the EV rebate instead of increased supply. Oh, man. Isn't that funny? Yeah, no, that's how it's supposed to work. You're right.